Hello, everyone. Another day, another dollar. Am I right? No, okay. This is the third day, third video. I don't think I need to do this in a row or anything, but I thought we'd do something really weird and whack today, or I would do something really weird and whack today, and talk about movies, shows, and video games. Not many that I have seen that have made me cried in the past, or cry. I just said that in past tense. Anyway, ignore that. What I'm going to do is say every single thing, every single media. I just said that, yes, that I cried to. So the first few that I can remember off of the top of my head, without embarrassing myself right away. I think it was, I was a kid back then, so it's a little different. I can probably think of the first one being a movie that I don't know what it was. It could have been just some low budget movie when I was a kid, but I was watching on the screen. I don't know why I was allowed to watch it, but well, it wasn't that bad, really, but there was a hunter shooting a lion, and I felt really bad for the lion, I guess. It was in live action, too, by the way, so it wasn't some animated film. Not that that matters to make it any cuter or not, but, it's a lion, it's like a cat, why would you want to see that get murdered? I don't want to see a lion get murdered and shot. But I guess that's part of hunting, so I don't know where it was. It was like in Africa or something. I don't even know what it was. Anyway, that was the first one I can think of at the top of my head. The second one, I'm not exactly sure either, because when I was a kid, there was a dinosaur movie where there was this red dinosaur with, like, spikes, and I think it was fighting something over family-related stuff. I don't know. Once again, I was probably under the age of 5, so I don't remember a single thing. But I actually came back to think about what it might have been without actually watching a movie, because I'm not going to do my research. Why would I do something like that? And I think it might have been the movie Dinosaur, so... But maybe it's not Dinosaur, I don't know. I never came back to rewatch it if I watched it in the first place, so I just assumed because it was 3D animated, so... Or I think it was, or maybe it was live action. I don't know. I grew up watching Gormiti Monster trailers, okay? So I didn't even know what the final countdown was until, Gormiti, and I was like, oh my god, that's Gormiti Monsters! If you understood Gormiti, you'd get the joke. I'm just yapping myself to death. Now, what is something I purely do remember off of the top of my head when I was much older. Not really much older. I would say 8 or 9. No, it wasn't 8 or 9. It would have been probably 6 or 7 around there. And it was the first Godzilla movie I ever watched. So here's my origin story of why I love Godzilla so much. Not exactly why, but it was my first movie for Godzilla that I watched, which was obviously it was either the 1954 version, or it could have been King of the Monsters, which is the Americanized version, which I still think is a really good movie, but it's hard to remember as, I think I watched it on Netflix when I was a kid because it was available at the time, but I'm not exactly sure. Well, no, actually, I did buy the movie, so it would have been a different story. But there's 2 instances in that movie that are really depressing, and I'll list both of them. But I cried only at one instance of that movie, if you know the movie. The first part, I think, I'm not sure what order it is, but there is a scene where a mother is holding their child, and I think she's telling her kid that she's going to, or he's going to, a spoiler alert, by the way, he's going to see his father soon, which was really depressing, and that would make me cry back then if I remembered it, but I don't think I remember that as a kid, so it never really bothered me. But then there was the specific part that I was thinking of is when I was crying like a baby. I was bawling out. I mean, I was a baby kind of, but not really a baby, while at the TV, and I think I was even crying to my mom about it because it was so sad, or maybe it was my sister, and they were probably cringing, but, it is what it is, right? And it was when there's a scene when it's moving into, the movie is very gritty to me as a kid, it's black and white, and I grew up with that kind of stuff, like Creature from the Black Lagoon and any other black and white movie that exists that I can't name off the top of my head. And there was a bunch of kids crying, a bunch of children crying, like, Mama! Mama! And, saying that out loud don't sound so sad, kind of funny, right? But it's pretty sad when you actually watch the movie. It's actually really sad. So I was bawling my eyes out thinking about that. And that was awful because obviously the mom is dead, the mom don't exist no more because Godzilla either stomped on her or blew fire on her or whatever, or smoked her to death. I don't know. We probably didn't see that part. But anyway, the last few that I can think of right off the top of my head is, there was Well, it might be a couple actually. I mean, we could count. No, I was gonna say maybe Digimon. But oh, I remember one now. There's another one that I just remembered. Before we get to that though, yeah, in Digimon I started crying because I was. It wasn't because of the show or anything. It was because I was. Well, I felt bad for a kid back in the day when I was like 6 or 7 or something like that, and or maybe I was 8, I don't know. I gave away my cactus item. That was an exclusive item from Animal Jam because I felt bad for some kid because he was really, really sad. And then I was really, really sad, and I cried because I gave away my cactus from Animal Jam. But that has nothing to do with Digimon, so I don't even know what you're talking about there. Pokemon. It was Pokemon. If you don't know, I assume that's actually anime, so I guess that's the only anime I've ever watched in my entire life outside of Godzilla Singular Point because I forced myself to watch that as well for some reason because it was Godzilla. And it was okay. I mean, I don't know. I don't really remember much of it, but I do remember some Pokemon. And I think I only watched really the first season, maybe the second. I don't know how many seasons there are, but when they let go of Butterfree, I cried, dude. When they were on the ship, I think Ash Ketchum, I think that's his name, let go of Butterfree, and it's like, no, be free. I don't remember how it went because this is all stuff that's in my memory gland things that I can't really remember as it is something from my childhood, but I assume that's what happened, but maybe I'm wrong. The last two I could say, the one that probably is going to be a little bit embarrassing is well, it's not really embarrassing. It's just that I don't remember the original film. I don't even know if I've seen the original film or not. And that's The Lion King. But I didn't cry at the original film. I cried at the remake Lion King. But I think it's reasonable. I know a lot of people really don't like that movie, but I can't help it. I'm going to call that movie a live action movie. I don't care if it's CGI or what. They look real as hell. You're going to put a person in there and then that's going to immediately make it live action? No, everything else looks realistic. To me, it's live action. I know it's considered animated, but I'm going to consider it live action, okay? You see these live action looking lions, okay? You see these live action looking lions. And spoiler alert, I think I already spoiled a lot actually, but yeah, Mufasa, if you know Mufasa, when he dies and the little cub, whatever his name is, Lion King, I don't know. He goes up to Mufasa and is really sad, and it made me really sad. And I was like 12 or like 13, maybe I was even 14. I don't even know. And yeah, I was with like, because I was at my aunt's house actually, and I was around a bunch of family and stuff. And they probably thought it was sad too, but I thought it was cringe to cry. So I kind of hid my tears. I was hiding away myself crying, probably from my sister if she was there. I don't know, because I don't know how she feels about the film. But anyway, that was the whole reason probably why. But that was really sad because it looks realistic and it's like a little animal. It's like he just lost his father, you know? But like it looks real. So I mean, I don't know. Again, I don't know how the original was. Maybe I'd cry at that too as a kid. Maybe I did cry at it. I just don't remember. And last but not least, this is not really a spoiler alert for the video game, but it is. I mean, you might as well skip it if you haven't played the game because I think you should experience it for yourself because it's the only video game, and I mentioned this already, the only video game that's made me cry, which is Silent Hill 2. Silent Hill 2, the original 2001 game. And again, it's at the end of the game. It's not like a huge plot twist or anything like that, but if you want to experience it yourself, I would recommend go out and experiencing it on your own because that game is amazing in my opinion, just fantastic. So the end of the game is kind of like the beginning where Maria or not Maria, sorry, Mary, James's wife is crying to or she's not just crying, she's letting herself out with her letter which was written or read at the beginning or near the beginning of the game, but it was read out fully at the end of the game, and it's just her admitting her pain of like her illness and how she felt bad and how everything was for her before her final not before her final moments but before her death obviously, and how awful that is to feel. And that always reminded me, not really reminded me, but like it does affect me because I have, if you don't know me, like on a serious note, I mean, I think most people, most people would say, yeah, cancer is awful or some kind of disease is awful. Well, it is awful, and I can't imagine what people like that go through. And I've seen that throughout with family, and I'm pretty sure most people can also relate with that with family, where that has happened in the past. Obviously, I've never had a wife or a girlfriend, so it's not like I can relate there or anything, but it's it's a depressing part, of a really depressing part of the game because it just makes you feel bad. And it's just an amazing the way she says it, the way the voice actor says everything in that game. I think is probably the best performance in most video games is that I have played at least. So yeah, that's all the times that I've cried. I don't know why I made this video, but I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll just say this right now. Yep, that's why. There's no reason why. I just was like, okay, let's talk about times I've cried in my life. So maybe you can comment down below